And good evening. This is Coach Big Pete of DeepDishFootball.com and the Women Report. It is time now for Deep Dish Football Game of the Week between Manteno versus Herscher, Week 7. Manteno Panthers season so far. And what a season. Um, I think there were a lot of questions that were asked after their loss to Peotone, after their first game. Their loss to Peotone. And they managed to answer after that tough loss to Peotone with a win over Wilmington, and they lost to Coal City. But they beat Sandwich, they beat Plano, they beat Streeter. Now, Peotone, uh, Manteno, and Plano. I had as two teams uh, that I put in the hat for the I at large, and I would say, and I said basically, if you pick out one team, that's probably going to be the team that's going to be in the playoffs for this season, because it was going to be between Herscher and Coal City for the top, and it looks like it's going to be Manteno. That's going to be that team that's going to be going to the playoffs with the way the schedule is looking. Because after Herscher, they have Lyle High School, Recuster, at Recuster. They have they have a great deal of playoff points, especially with their schedule. Don't quote me on it, but Manteno looks great good at the playoff picture in it. Now I know they had a few issues with the offense, but everything has been taken care of, and that's a scary sight, especially in Interstate 8, especially with Coach Haynes and what he does with the Manteno Panthers, and the quick strike spread, and basically the runs are just the killers that Manteno does so much. I saw him last year, Manteno versus Coal City, when they actually beat Coal City. And I was completely impressed. And I'm impressed this year because they graduated a lot of talented seniors. Travell Calvin, Schmidt, who was just a tough kid. Gavin Zimbelman, small, but a deadly quarterback in Interstate 8. And it seems like now they're starting to get their bearings. And with Brandon Bokagan is one of their top end edge rushers in the interstate, and especially in the Interstate 8. Great group of young wide receivers. Their line has gotten sort of back into that mold again, like it usually does to warm up, especially in the Interstate 8. I do believe that this is going to be a key game for them against Herscher. Do I think they can beat Herscher? Yes, because it's literally the Interstate 8. Anything, everything wild that has happened in Interstate 8 happens around these weeks. Manteno has a great chance of doing it. What I'm looking for out of Manteno is attacking the middle section of Herscher's defensive line and offensive line, and that's literally the main thing. I do believe that Manteno is going to need a big help out of their pass rush, because if Manteno gets a good pass rush, if Brent Broekhagen has a hell of a game, it's going to be a scary night for Manteno versus Herscher. Again, the key thing for Manteno is going to be their athletes at the end of the season. Now, if Manteno gets into the playoffs, and let me see something. Okay, Lyle. Okay, I'll give him the win for Lyle. Recuster, and this is just talk. Don't worry. Recuster win. 6 wins right there. But if they get into that 4A playoff spot and they don't get hurt and get stuck with a first shitty team, a really good team, a really bad team, a really badass team, and they get a first win under their belt, watch out for Manteno. I have Manteno as a sleeper, especially in the 4A. If and when they get into the 4A, because I'm not going to say that they're going to get into the playoffs or anything. Don't want to jinx you guys, but if they get into the playoffs, that team Manteno can surprise some people, and we've seen surprises in the playoffs especially 4A and 5A and 3A. Manteno can do that, and Coach Haynes does a hell of a job with his team, and I keep saying that. I I've referred to him and his coaching staff as one of the top coaching staffs in I-8 and in that Kankakee area. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Um, I think uh, I think Peotone was a pivotal game loss to Manteno that helped Manteno get better for the rest of the season. I think that was a pivotal loss. I think that loss actually helped the Manteno football roster. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just my personal feeling. So this is Coach Big Pete of Deep Dish Football talking about the season so far for Manteno. Looks good. They're going to probably make the playoffs. Probably. I'm not going to jinx them. So keep it here. Manteno roster tomorrow. Going to talk a little bit about Brandon Brokeigen. Going to talk about the roster. Going to talk about Shane Warren. Going to talk about Brandon Steele. Going to talk about some other players that you need to pay attention to. I'm also going to go through a few coaching points, some magic numbers, and get you set for the pregame analysis and get you set for the game this Friday night between Herscher and Manteno. Big Interstate 8 large battle. It's going to be one hell of a game. I will be there. So this, and keep it here at deepdishfootball.com. Follow me, Coach Big Pete, and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. It's going to be Herscher and Manteno all week long. So, and Deep Dish Football live at 8 p.m. Thursday and Wednesday. I'm going to talk about the Deep Dish Football game of the week also. So thank you so much and have a lovely night.